One of the most prominent game modes in Chaos Zero Nightmare is in fact your Chaos runs. Today, I'm going to give you guys a run and show you exactly what they're like. What's up everybody, I'm NixIRL and I've been playing this Chaos Zero Nightmare beta, trying to collect as much information and knowledge to share with you guys as I possibly can. And today I wanted to give you guys a Chaos run with some of my favorite characters that I've been playing throughout this beta. One, to show you what these characters do. I will talk about each of the characters, their cards, their kits, and how I'm playing them, as well as give you guys a decent idea as to what these Chaos runs are, what they're going to entail, and what you can expect when you get into the game. So let's take a look at it. Alrighty, so starting at the main menu, if you just check over here on this right side, all you got to do is click into your Chaos mode. This is going to be something that you're going to have to unlock after you start the game, but you get into it pretty early on. When you go into your Chaos manifestation, there are 3 at least that we've been able to get into within the beta of these planets, of these areas of Chaos, with 2 that have not been quite unlocked yet. You will notice that each of them have an element associated with them, or rather an attribute. The first planet, the blue pot, is passion. The second one, twin star shadow, is instinct, and the third one, city of mist, is void. I'm sure the 4th and the 5th are the green and the blue elements or attributes. I think they're called order and justice. I keep mixing them up. Hold on, I can get that information. There's no reason not to grab it real quick. Okay, so the green is order and then the blue is justice. Okay, yeah, my mistake on that one, guys. But yeah, I'm sure that they will be weak to those. We're going to go ahead and just start on this first one right here, and I'm going to give you guys a run just on the lowest difficulty so that the run's not very long. If you've seen one, you'll start to catch on, so we don't need to linger on it too long. And I'm going to be using Renoa as my DPS, Nia as my support character, and then we'll have Mika as a healer. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the combination of Mika, who everybody gets for free, she's one of the starting units, an incredible healer, her alongside of Nia, who's a fantastic support, a 4-star character. This combo is a great foundation for any run. And then Renoa is just a cool character. I've enjoyed playing her. I mean, I've enjoyed playing a lot of the characters, and maybe I'll drop another one of these runs trying to get as much footage as I can throughout this beta. But we're going to start off with Renoa and show the run here. So let's go ahead and hop into it, and I'll explain as we go.
Renoa, 임무 개시.
Alrighty, I think that notification right there was just trying to tell me like, hey, there are harder difficulties, but I want this run to be as quick as possible just so we're not lingering too long. So whenever these runs start, you're going to get you're going to get these 3, and you're going to select one of these 3 options for essentially a bonus that you'll get throughout the duration of your run. So I can take either gain 50 credits upon victory in unidentified battle areas, I can get 2 random pieces of rare equipment, or I can earn 10 credits each time you move areas, but my health decreases by 30%. Well, Mika's a fantastic healer, but I don't know that I really want to mess with that option. I'm just going to take the safe bet here and take 2 random pieces of rare equipment. There are 3 levels of rarity with your equipment. Think about it, rares being your 3 stars, then there's also 4-star and 5-star equipment. I think it's called rare, legendary, and then something beyond that, but the 5-star equivalent. So when taking damage, recover 2% of HP 1 time per turn. We'll go ahead and toss that on our healer. We'll go ahead and get that on Mika. And then at the start of the first turn, gain action points equal to the number of Outbreak of War cards. Outbreak of War is a status that some cards can have. Ideally, we'd be starting with Outbreak of War cards. I don't remember. It's getting into the weeds a little bit. Which of my characters may have those cards within their character kits, but none of these cards. It'd be a yellow status on the card, I suppose, a yellow bracketed status, and we don't see any of them right now. However, I may be able to upgrade them. This is recommending for Nia. I'm going to trust the game's recommendation right here, and I do believe Nia maybe does have a Outbreak of War upgrade once you can get her epiphanies. Now, one of the first things I like to do when going into these Chaos runs is check out the mapping of the run. Any of these red tiles are going to be a regular battle area, just where you're going to have combat. Any of these orange campfire areas are your rest areas. You can make purchases there. You can heal your characters there. There's a number of things. And then these blue tiles are unknown. You could get any number of things. I kind of look at them like occurrences in HSR. If we go a little bit further, we will run into these purple tiles that are elite battle areas. This is where we're going to fight these harder monsters, but you're also way more likely to get good drops out of the out of the elites when you fight them. So I try to fight as many of these elites as possible so I can get upgrade gear for my characters. And then if you come across one of these campfires, it's got that little shop symbol. The Delang shop is there. That's where you can spend your credits. So as you accumulate credits throughout your run, you can spend them at these shops. The higher levels, I think, tend to have more elites and more shops available, but all I'm looking for right now is where can I face off against the most elite. So if I go to this top side, I could fight this one, drop down, and no, I'd go beyond that extra elite. Whereas if I go on this bottom side, I've had the chance to go up and hit another elite before I get to the store. So I'm going to go ahead and just go across the bottom. I'm sure there's going to be advantages to, you know, taking on any of these random areas, these mystery areas. But right now, I just like going into the combat because I know what to expect. Plus, I'm trying to learn more about these characters' kits. A quick briefing on each of these characters before we really get into the combat. Mika is more of a healing style character, but she's got a unique ability within her kit that hopefully we'll get to soon that allows you to generate AP or action points for your team. That's really helpful. Nia is a great damage amper that's going to build up a status called morale, which is a damage amplification for your DPS. In this instance, I'm using Renoa. And she allows follow-up attacks, or more like tandem attacks, where Renoa or Mika, it's randomized, could follow up after Nia. So just more opportunities to do damage. And Renoa is going to be focusing around building up something called Dirge Bullets. And after she gets these Dirge Bullets, she gets higher multipliers, or even if she doesn't get the chance to use the bullets go off at the end of the round. So Mika as my, you know, primary sustain option, Nia as my damage amp, and Renoa as my DPS. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started here. We have 3 AP, and you'll notice at the top with these cards, they're all 1-cost cards. I'm just going to go offensively, so just a base damage card, and base damage card. I don't feel the need to play any heals that are in my hand right now because we just started. I've got a full HP bar. And now that I'm out of AP, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my turn right there. We'll deal with the consequences of these enemies. And now this is one of my favorite cards from Mika, Essence of Water. You can play it for 0 AP, you get a 100% heal, and you gain an action point. So I'm going to go ahead and play this card. Now I have 4 AP. I can play literally every card that's still remaining in my hand. So I'll go ahead and play my heal card. But now I do want to be cautious / considerate of what I'm playing with Renoa here. So I could go ahead and play my shield, the 100% damage, but another thing I want to focus on, especially if I didn't have enough action points, deal 140% damage and create 1 Dirge Bullet. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, knock out this enemy right here. And what's really neat about these Dirge Bullets, you can play them, and these multipliers will change throughout the duration of the fight, depending on how many of these bullets I own, and just what multipliers I've got on my team. But I could either play it to deal 160% damage, or when it's moved to the graveyard, I could do a random enemy attack for 100% damage. And that's what I'll show you guys to start things off. So just play my regular damage card, we'll go ahead and play a shield, and now I'm out of action points. But you'll notice when I end my turn, sorry, the check is behind my cam box right here, I will still get to use this Dirge Bullet, but rather than at 160%, just for 100% damage. So go ahead and check and end my turn, but as you'll notice, Renoa is still firing off that shot. So if you have to choose between using Dirge Bullets or using cards that wouldn't, you know, pop off and give you damage at the end, I would always suggest holding out on using those Dirge Bullets, since they will still be of use to you even if you have no action points. Now, something you'll notice at this point, in the top left corner of this card, we've got that golden glow. This is a spark card, and it will grant us epiphany. And as you can read, epiphany occurs granting the card a new effect. So let's go ahead and play this and see how this is going to work for us. So it's an attack card, and we're also going to have this epiphany. Now there's a couple different things that can happen. Oh, and the fight just ended right there, but I'll explain what just happened because a new card got added to our hand. Every character, and let's go ahead and obtain our credits right here. I'll be able to show you guys in a second. Every character starts off with their 4 starter cards. So we have Renoa, 4 starter cards. Nia, or excuse me, let's go Mika first, 4 starter cards. And then Nia has her 4 starter cards, but because we got that epiphany, we added one of our unique cards. So there are certain cards that are starter cards that if you get the spark on them, you could either get an upgrade to that card, or you could get one of your unique cards added to your hand. What we got right there was one of the unique cards added. So you'll see that throughout the duration of the run as well. Remember, I decided early on I want to stay towards the bottom so I can hit those elite enemies. So we're going to go ahead and take this bottom option right here. Now going into this next battle. Another thing you'll notice here on the left side of the screen is if we have enough EP or ego points, we'll be able to use these characters' ultimates. So these two, this one and this one, are from our partners that you add to your character's build, but this one right here is just Mika's ultimate. I'm not going to use Mika's right now because it says it grants 2 sources of water. Essentially, it's going to give us 2 of these cards to gain heals and get an action point back, but my HP bar is full. So it'd be a waste of time to play it right now. Maybe I could use one of these cards for less heals and some damage reduction, less heals, and give some morale to the team, which is a damage multiplier. But I don't need it right now, so I'm just going to hold on to my ego points until maybe later on in the fight. I am always going to play this Essence of Water card, even though I was max HP, because I want as many action points available as possible. And now we're going to go ahead, play our damage cards. I've got the AP available, so although I have max HP, I'm just going to go ahead and play my cards. It's unnecessary. It's not like I can get more heals than my max HP, but something later in this fight, as soon as we get more upgrades to Mika, would essentially put us to a point where maybe I wouldn't want to play those cards and waste AP. We just got to get there. Now, this is the upgrade card that we got for Nia in that previous round. It's going to cost me 1, but it's going to put 2 morale on our team. And if you click up here in the top left, you can see all the statuses of your characters. So we have 3 morale total now, giving us a 60% damage bonus. So stacking morale is super helpful. Now, we played this card earlier. We're going to deal damage, and we're going to generate a Dirge bullet. So I'm going to do that. Boom, we get the bullet in our hand. I only have 1 AP left. So this is a great example of what I was just referencing. I could play this Dirge bullet. It's now up to a 220% multiplier. Or I could play this and then let that Dirge bullet fire off at the end. I guess that's not the only option. I could play Nia's attack as well, but I'm going to go ahead and play Renoa's. I'm going to get rid of this enemy right here. I no longer have AP, but I'm going to go ahead and check to end the round, and that Dirge bullet's going to go off. Boom! And we've still won the round. So when you're playing Renoa, very important to keep in mind how you are using those Dirge bullets, because you can potentially misplay if you're not considering how you're using them. Now we have only the one option to go to, so this is kind of one of those randomized occurrences, and we'll just see what they're going to get into right here. I think I've dealt with this one before where you can get one of these 3 chests, but after you get through a little bit of dialogue, the options will pop up at the bottom. So I can either examine the ghoul's enclosure, decrease health by 20%, but I can find a key, or I could just pass the event. Well, that seems a little bit boring, so I'm going to go ahead and sack the 20% HP. I feel confident that my Mika will be able to generate that HP back for me. So we go ahead and sack the HP. I think we're going to take a hit right now. Boom. There we go. We lost the HP, but we found an old wooden key. Surely this will have some sort of benefit for us. So I can either open the box on the left, the middle, or on the right. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the one in the middle, and we'll see what we get. So the key broke as if mocking the prisoner's desperation. Well, that's not great. That's not great. Is there something else we can do here? No. Okay, so I chose wrong. Unfortunately, we were scammed in that occurrence right there. Really unfortunate. I'm going to check back with my mapping right here just to make sure I'm still moving along the path that I want to go. And yeah, it looks like we still got a long ways before we get to those elites. So I'm just going to choose the path that allows me to fight the most frequently. I don't think I'll need to stop at this campfire, this rest area. So I'm going to stay up here in these offensive slots. I'm going to go attack, attack, and then I could either go... Well, I guess I have to go one of these top options. So we'll go to these occurrences, attack, occurrence, and then we'll get to... This is essentially a save point right here. You usually get equipment out of it as well. But we'll go to the save point before we go attack, and then we'll get to our elite enemy that we will fight. So I don't think it really makes a difference, top or bottom. One thing that you should take note of, as you explore these planets, the more you fight random monsters, you will unlock your exploration more or less. So the game wants you to fight every monster that's on the planet. So you'll see that sometimes with the attack, little squares that you can jump back and forth to. Sometimes the enemy on it looks a little bit different, so if you know you've been clicking on a certain aesthetic and it gives you enemies consistently, then maybe you'd want to try the other one just to complete your exploration. Now, we do have a couple spark cards again. We've got this one for Renoa, and we've got this one for Mika, and it also indicates the light bulb above their head. I'm going to go ahead and start off with Mika's right here. Play Essence of Water. This is a great card to lean into, and this is what I wanted to see. So I want to get Tactical Analysis, which gives me 2 waves, and it also gives me this save feature. That's really important. I'll explain what this does in a little bit, but also it's important to note the reason I'm even able to choose between these cards is because I've gotten Mika's Ego 1. Her first dupe allows you to select her first epiphany. So this is what I'm choosing right now. I could take this card on the left. I'm going to go ahead and take this one on the right because I want that wave and save status. So after I play this card, it's going to grant me 2 waves, and I'm going to save 1. So if you notice these 3 icons next to Mika in the top left, those are her waves. Once you generate 3 of them, you are going to get 1 action point back, meaning you can take more turns, you can do more things. It just opens up the possibilities a lot more. And it's a 0 cost card, so it doesn't hurt me at all to play it. And the save portion of it means that any action points I don't use in this turn will carry over to the next turn. So we'll go ahead and play that. And if we want to check up top now, we do have 2 of these wave status. I don't know why it says tied. I think this should be fixed. But once you get 3, you gain 1 action point and reduce wave by 3. So once you get 3, you go back to 0 essentially. And save action points are preserved, but you can only do it for 1 turn. Now, I definitely want to play Renoa's spark card here as well. So we're going to go ahead and deal some damage. And this is going to generate a new card for us. So we got that Dirge Bullet. That was part of the effect of that card. But now we also get a brand new card, one of her unique cards. Deal damage 70% 3 times and increase damage by 20 for each Dirge Bullet in hand. So I would be misplaying if I use this Dirge Bullet before I use this card that benefited from having Dirge Bullets. So go ahead and play that. Boom, boom, boom. And enemy gone. Easy peasy. Now, I only have 3 AP left and 4 cards, but like we talked about before, I want to go ahead and save that Dirge Bullet. So I'm just going to play some offensive cards here. And then, you know what, even rather than playing this heal, I want to save a point just so I can show you how that status works. So I'm going to end my turn with 1 AP still available. And it's going to, you know, ask like, hey, are you sure you still have things that you could do? Yep, I'm cool with it. And notice we didn't lose that action point. It stuck around. And now that I got my 3 for this turn, I'm starting with 4. So that's one of the benefits of that save status. But if we check back, now it is gone. I'd have to play a new card with save in order to do that again. Another spark card here for Mika. And we've been granted a new card. Another thing that's nice, immediately after you get these sparks, these epiphanies, if you noticed when the card popped up above her head, it was a 2 cost card. But when you get it after epiphany, you can play them for 0 cost. So it just incentivizes playing these spark cards even that much more. So we're going to deal damage to all enemies equal to 200% and heal 50% for the number of targets hit. So obviously if there was more enemies on the field, this card would be more powerful. But I mean, there's only 1 enemy here, so what can we do? Alright, so we got some heals. We're not quite maxed out HP, but we're doing pretty well. And we went ahead and wrapped up that fight. So moving right along, only 1 option to take. And as we open up more unique cards or as we get more gear, we'll open up more possibilities of what we can do. Now, this is something awesome. I'm going to go ahead and play Nia's ultimate right here. It's going to deal damage, which is just kind of an added benefit. What we're really after is the fact that we're going to gain 3 morale. Now, we showed morale earlier, but every stack of morale is going to give us 20% damage bonus. We're going to get a 60% damage bonus for the remainder of this fight by starting with her ult. If you've been playing this game a lot, then you know it might be a waste to use on just these random red tiles. These enemies typically aren't that tough. I try to save a good ult like this for when I am fighting an elite enemy, but just to show you guys what's going on, and we can regenerate more ego points. We haven't used any yet. So let's go ahead and use her ult. All right, rocking out a little bit, and now again we've gotten 3 stacks of morale, so 60% damage bonus right there. So everything we're going to do is going to hit even harder, and we even got lucky enough to get Nia's upgrade card for 2 more morale, meaning that before we've even done any attacks, we already have a 100% damage bonus. We're going to be crushing this enemy. So let's go ahead, and you notice earlier, Renoa's card is typically a 100% damage card. Well, now, because we have the 100% damage bonus, it's literally doubled. 200%. And now this one, look at that. Look how easy that was. Stack our morale and start shredding the enemies. Now, just to be clear, this is the lowest level of difficulty. I'm doing this just so, you know, we're not going to struggle too bad. I want to make sure I can complete the run to show you guys what's going on. But you see just how much damage amplification a character like Nia can provide. Again, this makes no difference. As you can see, we've got a question mark, an attack, a question mark. So I'm just going to take the top sides. Why not? Keep powering through. All right, hopefully we do not fail on this occurrence this time. Hopefully we can get some gear, we can get a new card. There are common cards you can grab. So on this option, if we roll a 6 or higher, we could get rare legendary equipment, and if not, then we fail the event. I could also just get 80 credits. Sometimes I think that is worth, because when you go to stores, you can kind of take your purchasing power into your own hands rather than counting on RNG to give you something decent. You could just go ahead and save for the store and buy, you know, out of a few options, or we could get a random combatant epiphany one time. I'm going to take my chances. We're going to do a little gamble right here, and hopefully we can roll higher than a 6. We got an 18. Fantastic. So that means we're going to be getting some piece of equipment. Hopefully we want the legendary, but worst case scenario, we'll get the rare, and it typically is. I'm going to be honest. It's almost always rare gear. So at the start of battle, gain 1 immunity. If I'm remembering correctly, some of these, you know, statuses, buffs, debuffs, I'm still a little on the fence about, you know, if I'm correct on all of them. I think immunity just prevents you from taking damage. So at the start of battle, we just won't take damage one time. I'm not going to put this, even though it's recommended on Renoa, I'm going to go ahead and put this on Nia. I want to save far more offensive gear for my DPS, so I'll just let one of my other support characters hold this for right now, because it's a shared HP bar, so we're good one way or another. And hey, plus an achievement right there, not bad. Alright, moving right along. Now we've got an attack domain. I would like to, oh wait, never mind, we got all our HP back. I was going to say I'd like to heal that little bit that we were missing, but don't even need to do so. So just to show it off again, we've got the ego points, and again, I have no issue with regenerating them. We'll start with Nia's ultimate again. So we're going to get 3 stacks of morale from this. The damage, I think, is just a little added bonus. And if you guys didn't notice, we also got lucky enough to start with Nia's curiosity again. So 100% damage. Now, deal damage 150% and 20% for each dirge bullet. If you remember, we got this early. Well, we don't have a dirge bullet in our hand right now, but I'm still going to play the card because it can get me a kill on either enemy. So even without the dirge bullet, she can still be decently powerful. And now we will see if between Nia and Mika, there we go, we can get the kill. All right, keeping it pushing. We're going to have one more mystery to go to before we get to our you know, quick save area, I guess I'll call it, where we'll get some gear. So this time, inside the Crimson Tent, or we could just try to roll a 7 and get something cool. I'm gonna enter the tent. You know what I mean? I want to go for the most, you know, explorative option here, and see if we can get rewarded for it. Okay, this is something I have quite literally not seen yet. Voices of the cultists could be heard nearby. Check information on cold operating room. We could get a specific piece of equipment, dull bone blade, which is going to increase our attack by 15%, but reduce our crit chance. I haven't built any crit chance on my characters. I'm not sure how you could do it this early on in the game. So I only have the base 3% crit chance. I mean, so losing it doesn't bother me at all. Or we could try to roll a 6 and we win for 140 credits, or failure, we'd have to do a battle for the 140 credits. I'm going to go ahead and just take this option right here for gear. There we go. I don't know why it wasn't letting me click onto that. And now, like I mentioned before, I'm going to give this more offensive piece of gear to Renoa, to my DPS. So that way she's a little bit better kitted moving into these more difficult fights. Now, I do want to take this bottom option right here so I can hit 1 and 2 different elite enemies along the way. Now, just because I like to fight against the elite enemies doesn't mean that you need to, or that anybody else needs to. I just prefer to do it for better gear drops, but understand you are taking a risk by fighting a more difficult enemy. So this is our only option here. We could save at this point, but we're going to go ahead and get this Gladiator's helmet and see what it does for us. At the start of battle, gain Fortitude 1. I do believe that is a defensive stat right there, and everybody else has already got their piece of gear on, so we have to go ahead and give that to Renoa. We could have sold it, but I feel no need to leave a slot empty because you can always rotate slots out. Now we're going to start sloping down, so I'm going to go ahead and take this attack option. Oh, this is cool. I'm glad this popped up in this run. These little buddies right here, these little mice, they will spawn interesting cards that allow you to get rid of them easier. It only shows them with 2 shield and 8 HP, but every time you hit them, every individual hit is 1 HP off of their life. So what we really want to do is hit them approximately 10 times to get rid of them, and they will drop some cards along the way. So let's go ahead and start with some more morale that'll help us out against this, regular enemy right here. And then I'm going to start attacking this little mouse buddy. And after we attack them, we were granted this card, 60% damage, which doesn't matter if we're playing it against the mouse. I guess it would matter if we were going to play it against the other enemy, but it deals damage 4 times. So that's going to take us down. You can see they have 8 HP currently, and this is going to drop them down to 4. So those 4 hits, going to drop them down to 4, and it gave us another card right here. So gain 2 action points and draw 2. Phenomenal. We'll go ahead and play that card, get a couple more cards, and get some action points back. I'm going to play Mika's card right here to get us some wave status in the top left. Save any action points we don't end up using. I have a feeling we'll end up using them all. And now we can continue to play 3 attacks right there. So this mouse is down to just 1 hit remaining. And now we can get rid of them, so that should give us some decent gear after this fight is over. It's either gear or credits. I can't remember. I don't get it all that frequently, but they will happen from time to time. All we got to do is get rid of this, regular enemy now, and then we can reap the spoils at the end of battle. So I'm going to play Essence of Water. I think you should always lead with Essence of Water, get some heals, and get an action point back. And now I can just play all 4 of my cards. Unfortunately, we only have 1 offensive card, 1 shielding card, and 2 heals, so that's why I just spam through those. But it gets us back to max HP, and we got a little bit of shield on top for this next amount of, this next attack. Block as much of that damage as we can. Play another 0 cost card, and notice now, before I play this, we do have 2 wave, it's called tied, but 2 wave or tied, same thing. But I'm going to play another card that's going to give us 2 more wave. So if you take a look up here, we have 2 out of these 3 are, essentially colored in. This will give us 2 more, so we'll go up to 4. So we're going to get the third. Our 3 action points will jump up to 4. And this, by adding 2, will jump up to 3, reduce 3, and then it'll just leave the 1 left over. So you guys can see it happen on the screen. Jumps up to 3, drops back down to 1, and now we have 4 action points. So that's one of the beauties of that card as well, generating these wave stacks in addition to being able to save our action points. Go ahead and play this little offense from Mika and give some heals in the process. And we'll do some more damage. Now we're out of our action points. Oh, look, and we generated a Dirge Bullet. If you don't know what happened, you can always click your discard pile over here on the right. I was just playing our offensive cards, and I didn't even realize I was playing one that generates the Dirge Bullet. But this is the card we must have just played. I have 0 AP left, but as you guys will recall, even if I have 0, if there are Dirge Bullets in the hand, boom! She'll still fire off that damage at the end of the round. Now, basically, any attack is going to get rid of this enemy, but I'm not max HP bar, so I'm going to make sure I play any heals that are in my hand first and foremost, so I'm leaving this fight as healthy as possible. Your HP bar carries across this entire Chaos run. So I want to stay as healthy as I can as often as possible, and because I had plenty of action points available, it's no reason to not play the heals first. So, gaining a little bit more credits. And I guess maybe that's all that little buddy gave us, was the credits. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, and that little buddy is there to, surely give us something extra. Maybe we got bonus credits that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Or maybe it's just generating those fancy cards to help us get rid of the other enemy. I'd imagine it's the first option, though, because those enemies aren't really all that tough. Okay, our first option at an elite down here, you can see how it's a much smaller enemy on the red tile. This much more grotesque large enemy on the bottom, indicating the horror, indicating the terror that is in front of us. Now we've got 5 ego points right here, and something that you'll notice, only 2 of my characters right now have partners attached to them, but it doesn't matter if it was 1, 2, or all 3 of them have partners. There's only 3 slots for ego skills, and your partners have ego skills as well. So even though I've got enough to use Nia's ego skill like we've done a couple times, because this partner is here, we also have Mika and we have Renoa's ultimate. Nia's is not available. Even though I've got the points for it, I can't play it. So I've got to choose somebody else's to rotate it out. Now that being said, I'm down to start off with Renoa's ultimate right here, because it's going to draw all dirge bullets from the draw pile and graveyard for 300% damage. Problem being, this fight just started. We haven't played any cards to generate any dirge bullets yet. So I'm going to actually hold off. It's not like we're maxed out on ego points right now, and I'm going to try to play some cards to generate some dirge bullets before I play that, so I can get more benefit from her ultimate. We're going to start with Essence of Water like we've been doing, and now we'll just go ahead and use whatever offensive cards we've got available to us to get this fight started. We are not going to, this is something I should point out. If you'd notice, this is flashing, showing the HP that we will lose. We're going to lose that when this enemy takes their first action. But as it currently stands, we are maxed out on our HP. So there's no point in healing damage that we haven't lost yet. So that's why I'm playing all attack cards right now. Finish up our turn. Go ahead and take that damage. As you see, we lost that little bit of damage that it predicted. And now, here we go. Not only do we have a spark, but we also are going to create 1 dirge bullet. It's going to make that ultimate even more potent. So we'll play this, and now this is what I was talking about earlier. Sometimes you get upgrades. You get these epiphanies that allow you to get a different version of the card you played. So I can either keep it at a 1 cost. If things are blue, they're remaining the same as they were prior to the upgrade. If they're green, it's an improvement. If it's red, it's like a negative. But the only time I've seen that is sometimes you will get increased cost in the card. So this showing green because 0 is less points than 1. But sometimes you may get upgrades that cost more, but they give you that much more benefit. Or you have the ability to reduce the cost by, various play styles, let's say. So right now, I could either take this card, which is going to generate 3 dirge bullets. I could take this one, so a 0 cost, but it's going to create 1 dirge bullet, or I could take a 0 cost upgrade. Now, the difference between skills, attacks, and upgrades, skills and attacks will continue to rotate through your hand. Upgrade cards, once you play them, cool. You've got the upgrade. So all I'd have to do is play this. It would create a dirge bullet, and at the start of the turn, I'd create 1 dirge bullet. So if I choose this card, I'll get a dirge bullet at the start of every single turn. But I'm going to be greedy right now. I'm going to take this skill card to get 3 dirge bullets. So cool, immediately, boom, they drop them into my hand. We got the benefit of that ultimate. And before I play Renoa's ult, I still got a little bit of space. We can save up to 7 ego points. I'm going to play everything but these dirge bullets. So I'm going to go ahead and play this card right here. And because plus 20% for each dirge bullet in hand, it's going to hit that much harder. Cool. Pretty solid damage that we got right there. We'll go ahead and play one of Nia's attacks. And also, this happened earlier and I forgot to point it out to you guys. So she's going to deal damage, but a random ally will join this joint attack for more damage. I mentioned it at the start of the battle, but this is the card, or at least one of the cards that will allow that to happen. So notice our allies, Nia's going to attack, and then either Mika or Renoa will hit this enemy as well. So if you notice right there, Mika also chipped in on the attack. Now I have 0 AP left, but I do have these 3 dirge bullets, and we're going to go ahead and fire each of those off. Boom, boom, boom. Take a little bit of damage, no problem. And now look, this enemy's already almost dead, so I don't really need to do this. But for the sake of it, let's definitely make sure we play our spark card. This is not what I was referencing. Oh, this is really cool. Every now and again, you get an epiphany that is essentially blessed by one of these beings. This is by Vitor. I might be saying that wrong. But you'll notice that this card in the middle has this special bonus. when you get these epiphanies, you'll get these little, I don't know, they kind of look like cross-eyes, bullseyes on the card. So I could get wave 2, save 1, which is what we've had, but also gain 1 stack of morale. Going over to this right side, I could get 2 waves and action points are preserved. It looks like just straight up, you just preserve action points, which would be awesome. But why would I not take this very special card? Blessed by Vitor. We wave 2, we save 1, and for 1 turn gain 1 resolve, and it says unused. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to take the card regardless. So we got this special status right now. I'm going to play this for more morale, just so we can really dumpster this enemy. And just to show this, at this point, this really is a waste of the ego points, but the damage multiplier is much higher now. It was, I believe, 200, 250, it's up to 340. You guys can go back in the video and check me on this. But we're also going to draw the dirge bullets. Unfortunately, this enemy's going to die, but the fact that we now actually have dirge bullets in our discard pile means that we have the opportunity to draw them. Before we, essentially generated them, there were no dirge bullets elsewhere, but now we've at least got these 3 that she'd be able to draw. So let's go ahead. And you saw they just added to the hand, but it's not going to matter. We're never going to play them because the enemy is dead. But yeah, if you guys were looking down at the card hand, it did draw those dirge bullets that we had previous. And this is why, like I was saying earlier, I want to fight these elites because this is going to drop us a piece of equipment. So at the start of battle, apply 1 weaken to random enemies. Weaken is a status that means that they are going to hit us for less damage. 25% less damage than they would have before. Go ahead and slap that on Mika right there. We'll get our credits also. We're going to keep it pushing. Now, one thing I haven't pointed out, but I will draw your attention to it now, is as you're going through these runs, part of the problem with the chaos is as you get attacked, or the longer that you're in the chaos, you will accumulate this stress on these stress bars right here. So right now, Mika looks like she's at or maybe a bit beyond half, whereas Nia and Renoa, they haven't really been too stressed out. I'm sure at some point throughout the combat, we've only got a few tiles left to go through, but at some point, we will likely get one of these characters stressed out and they'll face mental break. That's where you're going to need to, manage some very special mental break cards. So just bringing that up now, I'm sure we'll get to in a little bit. I'm going to take this top tile so that I can go ahead and fight the elite after. This tile was our only option to get to that second elite. And we've got another event going on. So decrease credits by 40, but get an epiphany. We could get a special card, which is going to, when the card is exhausted, draw 2. Okay, so that would just give us free cards in our hands, or we get 100 credits. I'll take this special card. So what is interesting about these common cards is that you're going to have to assign them, oopsies, you're going to have to assign them to one of your characters. So when you finish these runs and you get your save data, whoever you assign this card to, if you want to use that save data, that will be the character that has the card. It's not like this team comp will retain this status. Oh, I actually have to transform one of my cards. Sorry, didn't read that. Gotcha players can't read. What's new? So depending on which card I'm willing to get rid of, that character will retain that card. I will go ahead and swap out one of Nia's healing cards. I'm playing with Mika, who is much more of a healer. And Nia's heals are just a little bit extra. She's more of a damage amp character. So we're going to convert one of her heal cards. And then that will turn it into this card. It's a 0 cost. Exhaust means that it literally gets sent not to your discard pile, but to your exhaust pile. It will not rotate back through your deck. But when we do that, we get to draw 2 cards. So that could be very pivotal in whatever hand that card gets drawn within. Or drawn, excuse me. And because Nia is more of the support character, that's another reason to give it to her rather than to my DPS or to my healer. We want our support characters to have, more supportive possibilities within their kit. Alright, new elite enemy. So this one's pretty beefy, 853 HP, but we're not worried about that at all. We're going to go ahead and play Essence of Water, get a little bit of heals. Now we're back to max HP and get ourselves that action point so we can play all 4 of our other skills. We'll play our heal, not that it's really doing anything for us. We're going to create 3 dirge bullets. This is great. Remember, I don't need to play them. I could play them right now for 160, or I could use my action points elsewhere and just take the 100% damage at the end of the turn. That's what I'll do. I also don't want to play them before I play this card that gets the multiplier for having dirge bullets. She's going to hit harder on that attack right there. We'll let Nia attack, and now I have no AP. However, Oh, wait, this could be really cool. I generated enough ego to get Renoa's ultimate again. So let's actually do this. Oh, so this is what it starts at. I guess 300. I guess it was 360 because we had those stacks of morale before. It's not because of the dirge bullets. My mistake. Sorry. Still learning as we go here. But we'll play this and then... Oh, actually, no. Sorry. I was thinking because we already have these dirge bullets, I'd be generating 3 more. I have to send them to my discard pile. There's none in my discard pile. There's none in my draw pile. So the ultimate wouldn't be able to grab anything. We'll save it for the next time around. So let's go ahead and just finish this turn right here. Fire off these 3 bullets. Boom, boom, boom. And now, if we wanted to play the ultimate, we should summon those 3 dirge bullets. Now, this is interesting. Some enemies that you fight will put these impediment cards in your hand. So this is going to give a status ailment. If the card is in hand when enemies attack, apply disable card usage 1, meaning that one of our cards we won't be able to play. It doesn't matter if we have the action points for it or not. We just straight up will not be able to play it. So what can I do to get rid of this card? When action count decreases, decrease the action count by an additional 1. The action count referencing this number next to the enemy's HP bar. So after 8 attacks, this enemy is going to attack us. If this card is in our hand, it will disable the use of one of our cards. So I could spend one of my action points to get rid of it. I could play the card, or I can just try to get rid of the enemy before that happens. And honestly, that's the route I'm going to take. So let's go ahead and play Renoa's ultimate right here. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of Renoa's ultimate, or if you've seen other characters' ultimates, or which one is your favorite. And there's 3 dirge bullets that we generated before, now they're back in our hand. So I'm going to go ahead. We don't really need to heal. So yeah, I guess, yeah, let's play this attack right here. We'll play this attack, which is, again, this is our joint attack card. So not only will Nia attack, but somebody else will follow up. Looks like Mika followed up again. And then, just because the enemy's already so weak, we're going to end our turn early just so we can see these dirge bullets fire off. Giving us the warning saying, hey, there's other things you could do, but that's all right. We know what we want to do, and we got our win. Now, again, because it was an elite enemy, we got another piece of equipment. Unfortunately, just getting rare equipment. We haven't gotten anything too elite just yet. And this is a good thing to show you guys as well. So, gain fixed shield 80% upon defeating an enemy. But everybody's, you know, what would this be considered? Your gear, everybody's gear slot is already full. So, I can either sell it off for 30 credits, 30 of our gold right here, or I could swap it. So instead of this one, which recovers some HP, instead of this one that gives 1 immunity, or instead of this one that gives 1 fortitude, I could get a fixed shield. I'll go ahead and swap out with Renoa, because Renoa's going to get some kills for us, and then we'll get some shield that way, rather than having that fortitude. Not so bad. We'll gain our credits, and we've only got a couple tiles remaining. Yep, we got a little campfire. It's our first one that we're going to. Now, the campfires are nice because not only can you get heals if you choose to rest, you can also recover some of that stress. And it shows you right here that yellow is indicating the stress it will take away. Or you can rest or choose this training area, spend 50, and you could get 1 of 3 random cards. Okay, they need to fix this little grammatical error here, but we'll go ahead and take that. Now, with these random cards, you need a character that can use it. This card on the left is only available for Strikers and Vanguard. Strikers and Vanguard. This one, Rangers and Hunters. Because Renoa is a Hunter, she could use this card, but my other characters, Mika and Nia, they're controllers. So they wouldn't be able to use any of these cards. So this is my only option. I guess I could skip. It's right behind my cam box. There's a skip option, but I'll go ahead and take the card right here. And as you can see, even if I click on Mika, even if I click on Nia, the only route this card can take is to Renoa right here, because again, it's only good for Rangers and Hunters, and you know, the other 2 characters are controllers. So we'll go ahead and confirm, and that will put that into Renoa's hand. So at the end, after we get the save data, that card will only be with Renoa. It's not a team-wide bonus. Now, 1 more random occurrence, and then 1 more shot before we get to our elite. Let's see. 1 more random quest right here. Okay, what is he offering? So we could get rare or legendary equipment. We could increase stress, but as a result, we'd get max HP increase. Really not that bad of an option in my opinion. Or we could convert a card. This is what I didn't read on that previous occurrence. We could convert a card and get Black Stain Bundle. But what is that? So if you click the magnifying glass, it's going to recover 20% of max HP at the start of the next turn and reduce morale by 1. Well, I don't really need that. I've been able to sustain just fine. So I'm just going to take this random piece of equipment right here. But it is something to consider. If you're having trouble with your sustain, maybe you're running characters that only have shield cards and no heal cards, then maybe you'd be willing to sacrifice a little bit of stress for a bit more HP. All depends on who you're running and how your run is going, but at this current junction, I don't feel the need to risk it like that. We'll just take more gear, and in worst case scenario, if we can't use it, we'll just take the credits from it. Okay, looks like we saved this little buddy, and yeah, little buddy's gonna repay us by giving us, nice, we actually got a legendary piece of equipment. So when you deal damage with an attack card, you'll apply 1 vulnerable. So vulnerable allows us to hit the enemies a bit harder. Let's go ahead, because the slots are filled on the other characters, Renoa and Mika, I'm gonna give it to Nia right here. It's not like Nia doesn't attack, so, and it's a status effect. So everybody will be able to benefit from that status effect, no big deal. All right, now we have a campfire shop, and then we'll finally be fighting our boss. I will say these runs can go significantly quicker. It's because I'm taking time to explain the ins and outs of the run, explain the ins and outs of the characters, that this is taking as long as it is, but you can fly through these runs a lot quicker, especially once you kind of establish your foundation. Just want to make sure that you guys understand what's happening and what's going on. So we have 304 credits that we can spend right here. Something that we could buy is a legendary piece of equipment, Inflict Agony on the target. Now, Agony is kind of like a dot debuff that's going to take away a bit of their HP at the end of each turn. I find that this is better paired with a character like Tressa. If you guys have been following the game, you'll know Tressa is your guaranteed first 4-star. It's one of your scripted pools at the very beginning of the game, so Tressa could use this quite well. And not saying that it can't be used well elsewhere, but I don't want to spend 175 right now when there's other pieces of gear. I really like this. It's kind of like a one-time use thing, but we can trigger Epiphany on the equipped combatant, and it's going to cost me 120. So we'll think about that one right there. Could give us a brand new card just for buying that. We could get weaken immunity. It's a rare piece of equipment, like not that big of a deal. We've already got rare equipment. Or when using card with a cost of X, use it as X plus 2. I've never taken this because this scares me. I don't think that this is translated properly, because surely it's not going to add 2 cost to your card. Why would anybody take that? That would be of no benefit to you. But that's how it reads to me. And it costs 250. I'm not going to risk it for 250. So we're going to skip past that as well. And then the last piece of equipment we could buy right here at the start of the turn, activate 1 initiative card in hand without any cost. I'm not sure what initiative is. I'm just going to keep it a stack with you guys. We could buy one of these, and maybe I will buy this time regulator, but here in the bottom left, you can also refresh what's in the shop. So I'll show you guys that one time. Let's go ahead and buy this. I'm going to put it on Renoa, and then just like that, boom, we get a brand new card. So 180% damage plus 80%, and then discard all dirge bullets, apply 80% for each in the discard. So basically that plus 80% has to do with how many dirge bullets we get rid of, which means that this attack could be quite potent if we've already generated dirge bullets. Very cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and refresh. We've got a little bit more money to spend, 150. It's a shame. This is the only card that's popping up, but again, I don't have a striker or a vanguard character on my comp right now, so I wouldn't be able to use this. I'm not going to buy any more rare gear. I'm kind of fishing for cards at this point since I don't have enough to buy legendary gear. So here's a couple cards just to give you guys an example. So we could take this card right here. At the start of the turn, each ally takes fixed damage equal to 3% of their max HP, but you get an AP back. Could use it, and again, this is good for psionic or controllers. I could give it because both Nia and Mika are controllers. I could give it to them. I'm not really interested. I don't want to lose HP. Or we could take this, again, psionic or controller. When a card is created, grant random epiphany. Well, this is interesting. If I play this upgrade card, then for the remainder of that battle, if I create a card, I could spark an epiphany. Now, we know that Renoa will generate dirge bullets. So I'm going to take my chances with this. I'm going to go ahead and purchase this card. Oopsies. You need to click the character that you wanted to go to. We'll give it to Nia. Again, she's my support character. We'll grab the support card and put it on her. And now we'll go ahead and get out of the shop. We could rest, we could heal, but my HP is max, so I'm going to go ahead and do this training one more time. I'll risk it. And we could take either an Outbreak of War card. Remember, we talked about Outbreak of War earlier. Increase damage by 15% against targets with shield. Or I could take this consecutive attack for 50% damage 3 times. I'm not really interested in either. I'll just skip out on it. You don't always want to add cards to your hand, because the more cards you have, the more unlikely it is that you'll get one of your favorite cards. It's just simple math, you know? So adding cards isn't necessarily always a benefit to you. Sometimes you just want to keep the cards that are in your hand. Sometimes you just want to ride with Old Faithful right here. This is a great way to start this boss battle. So as you can see, the beefiest HP we've gone up against, but we've got a spark card and we're getting morale right off the bat. So we get again, once we get a spark, we get to play it for free. Activate extra attack on 2 random attack cards from the graveyard. I have no cards in the graveyard yet. It would be a misplay to use that right now. However, we can do a couple attacks. So there we go, attack number 1. And this is going to give us this joint attack, which will be important as well. So we're going to get Nia plus, keep an eye on the left side. Looks like Mika followed up on it. Now, this is a 0 cost card. Even though I don't have any AP, I can still play it. And we now have these 2 attack cards and our discard. So watch what happens here. We'll play this. Those cards are going to bounce out of the graveyard, and we're going to play them essentially for free. So card number 1, Renoa attacks. Card number 2, Nia attacks, and we get the follow-up, and that time Renoa did the follow-up for us. So look how powerful that was. We just did 2/3 of the HP bar in our first hand. That was a really good combo that we pulled off right there. Okay, now this boss does generate these aquatic balls. I'm going to be honest, I've been beating the snot out of this enemy every time. So I just largely ignore them and just attack the crab. But I'm sure there's some mechanics that we should know about with said aquatic balls. This is that upgrade card. So when a card is created, we grant the epiphany. I'm going to go ahead and play it right now. And we do not have the card to generate the dirge bullets. Unfortunate. But that's okay. Look, we've got tactical analysis. Give us some wave and save. Got a point back for it. Fantastic. And let's just deal some damage. And we'll add some shield. Alright. Nothing else we can do that turn. Shield did a good job of tanking most of that. Ooh. So when this card is used, when this card is exhausted, draw 2. So let's go ahead and play this with the spark. I'm not actually entirely sure what's happening there. I think you need to play it twice before it becomes exhausted. But we get to play this for free. Activate card on top of the draw pile. This is kind of the reverse of the card that we just played from Nia that pulled it from the graveyard. The card on top, you'll see it here in a second. We played Nia's Whirlpool right there, and we got to play that for free. That's a 2-cost card, by the way, that we just got to play for free. It's part of the reason that Nia is so damn good. Play Essence of Water to get some heals and an extra AP, and all that we have left is these, you know, healing cards. So we'll just go ahead and spam those. But we should win on our next turn for sure. Okay, our little crab buddy just calling more water balls. It's not going to save them, I fear. Should we wrap this up with Renoa's ultimate? Even though we won't have any dirge bullets that we can summon, as you can see, this will get the kill. So we'll go ahead and finish off with some cinematics right here. And battle complete. There we go. Okay, so a pretty smooth sailing battle right there. The last couple things to note from these runs, you get to copy a card. Now, the fight is over, but it's still important to pay attention to what you're doing here. It is random cards that you can potentially duplicate, but one of these cards is for Nia, one of these cards is for Renoa, and one of these cards is for Mika. Even though we just fought together, as I've been reiterating throughout the video, throughout this run that we've been doing, after we get the save data, we could use this save data on these characters individually in other team comps. So one of my favorite cards, I've talked about a bunch, is Essence of Water. Now I can get an additional Essence of Water in my Mika's save file. More opportunities for 0 cost to heal and get action points. I think it's a fantastic card. We're also going to get a piece of legendary equipment, and we get to choose which one we want. When a status ailment or curse card is drawn, we can gain morale, or when vulnerable is applied, apply 1 vulnerable to all enemies max 1 per turn. I don't really love either of these if I'm being totally honest, but if we do happen to get vulnerable applied, then we'll go ahead and retaliate and apply that on an enemy. Now, all of our gear, or at least almost all of our gear, is full. We don't have this last piece, this little amulet slot on Mika filled just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and replace this. Instead of getting weakened on an enemy, we'll have a bit of a retaliation. And, you know, I'd rather have the legendary gear than the rare gear. We can get some credits. I'll be totally honest, I have no idea why we get credits at the end of the run, because the run's over. I don't need these anymore. Oh, actually, sorry, I think when you get later into the chaos, this is just like part 1, and you'd go into a second part. Now, don't be, you know, dissuaded by the length of the video. I know we've been going for a while now. I've been yapping. That's why it's been taking so much longer. The fights really don't take this long. And the last option here, your chaos loot, I could obtain. We started this beta with 6 of 12 of these tickets. You can either use this ticket to give what this is offering, or you can cancel and just skip it and not use a ticket. People are under the impression that you get 6 per week. It's a weekly refreshed resource. I'm going to go ahead and skip because I don't need any of that gear that it's going to give to me. Just know if you wanted to get it, you'd have to spend one of those tickets. Now, finally, that the run is complete. We've gathered everything. We finally get our save data so you can see exactly what that's going to look like. So based off of all that gear, all the extra cards that we gave our characters, we now have a 21.4, 21.5, and you guys can't see it, but it's 20.3 across our characters. So this is save data that we could use. These are builds, essentially, that we could use for these characters in other content. But that about does it. I know that was a long video, but I wanted to be as thorough as possible. I was fortunate enough to get into the beta. I was actually fortunate enough to be selected as one of these CZN content creators. So shout out to CZN, Smilegate, Stove, all of that for selecting me. And I wanted to give you guys a really in-depth look at what it is to fight in the chaos. I may pump out a couple more videos of these going significantly faster with different characters, but if nothing else, we've got this video for you. If you guys enjoyed, please do me a favor and subscribe. Leave a comment letting me know what you thought, any other questions you have, and drop a like as well. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.